Everyone wants to know what millionaires do, but few ask how millionaires think. The poor ask for a raise. The rich ask for a return. The poor trade time for money. The rich trade ideas for freedom. If you want to change your paycheck, you must first change your philosophy, because your income will never grow beyond your mindset. Work like the poor, yes, but think like the rich, and soon you'll earn like the millionaire. You know, I've met two kinds of people in this world. Those who work hard and stay broke, and those who work smart and become free. Both wake up early, both put in hours, both face struggle, but one group trades effort for survival while the other trades wisdom for wealth. The difference isn't in how much they work, it's in how they think while they work. See, the poor man works with his hands, the rich man works with his mind, and the millionaire, he works with systems that multiply both. Most people are busy trying to earn a living, but they forget to design a life. Let me tell you something about human nature. We're trained to work like the poor from the very start. Go to school, follow rules, don't take risks, fit in, play safe, and someday, maybe, you'll retire with enough to survive, but never enough to truly live. That's the poverty of mindset. But here's the truth. You were not designed for survival. You were designed for expansion. The Creator didn't put you here just to pay bills and die. You've got potential sleeping inside you that could change the direction of your family for generations. If only you learned how to think differently about work, money, and time. I once asked my mentor, why do some people seem to multiply results while others can barely get ahead? And he said, because one group works with sweat, the other works with strategy. That changed everything for me. From that day, I stopped asking, how can I work harder? And started asking, how can I work smarter? How can I grow my mind to match the goals I dream of? The poor think, if I just had more money, I'd be fine. The rich think, if I just become more valuable, money will find me. And the millionaire, he thinks, how can I build something that works while I sleep? So tonight, I want to challenge you to retrain your thinking, to work with the hunger of the poor, the strategy of the rich, and the vision of the millionaire. Because if you combine the humility of hard work with the wisdom of wealth, you become unstoppable. You see, success isn't something you chase, it's something you attract by the person you become. Work like the poor, with gratitude, urgency, and grit. Think like the rich, with vision, patience, and leverage, and earn like a millionaire, not because of luck, but because you became the kind of person who could. By the time we finish today, I want you to see work not as a job, but as a vehicle for transformation. Because if you change how you think about money, you change how money thinks about you. Now let's begin. Let me tell you something I learned early in my life. Most people wake up each morning and head to work, not out of passion, but out of pressure. They go because they must, not because they want to. They trade their time for money, their dreams for comfort, and their energy for survival. That's how the poor think. And I don't mean poor in terms of money. I mean poor in terms of mindset. The poor work for the weekend. The rich work for a lifetime vision. One group works to pay the bills, the other works to fulfill their purpose. I remember those early years when I worked hard, really hard, and yet had almost nothing to show for it. I was busy, but not valuable. I worked to survive, not to grow. And then one day, it hit me. If I wanted to change what I was getting, I had to change why I was doing it. That's when I stopped working for money and started working for meaning. You see, money is a poor motivator. It'll get you started, but it won't keep you going when things get tough. Purpose will. When your work becomes a mission, not a burden. Something powerful happens. Your results expand beyond the paycheck. Now, here's the truth. The rich don't see work as punishment, they see it as privilege. The poor say, I have to go to work. The rich say, I get to go to work. It's a simple shift in words, but a profound shift in energy. When your work becomes a form of self-expression, when you're not just building a career, but building yourself, that's when magic happens. Your creativity rises, your discipline strengthens, and your value in the marketplace increases automatically. The poor stop when they're tired. The rich stop when they're done. The poor seek comfort. The rich seek mastery. The poor see their work as a means to an end. The rich see their work as the art of becoming. And isn't that what life is really about? Becoming more? Because the more you become, the more you attract. That's the law of life. You don't get paid for time. You get paid for value. So if you want more income, increase your value. If you want more value, find purpose in your work. When you work only for survival, your energy drains by noon. But when you work for a purpose, your energy expands. You wake up earlier, you think deeper, and you contribute more. Purpose turns exhaustion into endurance, and endurance into excellence. That's how fortunes are built. Not by clocking in and out, but by showing up with meaning every single day. So ask yourself, who am I becoming through my work? Because that's the real measure of success. The poor work for money and remain tired. The rich work for meaning and stay inspired. The difference is invisible to the eye, but visible in the results. Work for purpose and watch the world pay you for the value you bring. I used to think work was something you had to do, something the world demanded of you. You show up, do your part, get your check, and go home. But one day I realized something powerful. Life doesn't pay you for doing what's required. It rewards you for doing what's exceptional. The poor see their work as an obligation, something to endure. The rich, on the other hand, see it as an opportunity, something to explore. The same job, the same hours, the same effort, but one mind is trapped and the other is expanding. You see, the difference isn't in the work, it's in the way you see the work. Two people can be in the same situation. One says, I have to do this, and the other says, I get to do this. The first feels burdened, the second feels blessed. That's the mental separation between scarcity and abundance. Opportunity doesn't visit those who wait for better conditions. It hides inside the conditions you already have. It's wrapped in the tasks you resist, the challenges you avoid, and the problems you complain about. When I was working odd jobs, before success ever came knocking, I began to study how opportunity really works. I'd look around and see others doing just enough to stay employed, but not enough to get promoted. I decided I wouldn't just do my job, I'd learn my job, master my job, and understand why it mattered. When others were complaining about extra tasks, I volunteered for them. When people avoided tough customers, I handled them. Not because I loved the task, but because I loved the person I was becoming through it. Every act of initiative planted a seed for future opportunity. You see, the rich don't wait for opportunity, they recognize it. And that recognition comes from curiosity. Curiosity turns every duty into discovery. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what can I learn from this? You begin to see the lessons hidden in the labor. Every small task is an invitation to build a bigger future. Maybe today you're sweeping the floor, but if you do it with excellence, one day you might be managing the store. That's not luck, that's awareness. The truth is, opportunity is everywhere, but most people miss it because they're too busy wishing they were somewhere else. Every job, every challenge, every setback, carries a hidden advantage if you train your eyes to see it. The person who sees opportunity where others see obligation becomes irreplaceable. That's who companies promote, that's who markets reward, and that's who life favors. So before you complain about the next task, pause and ask yourself, what's the opportunity here? What can I learn, improve, or leverage? Because the poor spend energy avoiding work, while the rich spend energy mastering it. And mastery always creates more opportunity. When you begin to think this way, you stop running from responsibility, you start running toward it. Because every responsibility carries a reward. Opportunity's never absent, it's just waiting for the right mindset to show up and claim it. Discipline is the invisible bridge between where you are and where you want to be. Everyone dreams of financial freedom, but few are willing to live with the discipline that creates it. See, money doesn't come to the lucky, it comes to the disciplined. You can stumble into money, but you can't stay wealthy by accident. Without discipline, every opportunity slips through your fingers like sand. With discipline, even small beginnings turn into lasting empires. When I was a young man working as a clerk, I used to think success was all about opportunity, being in the right place at the right time. But over time, I realized it wasn't the timing that mattered, it was the training. I watched people get the same opportunities I did. Some turned them into fortunes, others turned them into frustrations. The difference wasn't in what happened to them, but in what they did consistently with what happened. That's the essence of discipline. Doing what you know you should do, whether you feel like it or not. Most people want the rewards of the rich while living with the habits of the poor. They want freedom without structure, success without sacrifice, growth without grind. But life doesn't work that way. Every dream demands discipline. If you can't manage yourself, you can't manage wealth. And if you can't discipline your habits, the world will discipline your results. The poor react to life, the rich prepare for it. The poor wait for motivation, the rich act from commitment. When you build discipline first, income naturally follows. Because discipline is what keeps you reading after others stop. It's what keeps you saving when others spend. It's what keeps you creating when others complain. You see, discipline gives direction to your desires. Without it, even ambition becomes chaos. I've met many talented people who never made it, not because they lack skill, but because they lack consistency. Talent can open the door, but only discipline keeps it open. So start small. Create daily non-negotiables. Things you'll do no matter what. Maybe it's 30 minutes of learning, planning your day before sunrise, or executing one important task without distraction. Track your habits, not your hours, because success doesn't come from how long you work, but from what you work on consistently. Every act of discipline strengthens the muscle of self-trust, and that muscle compounds faster than any investment. Remember this, short-term pleasures often cost long-term prosperity. Every time you choose comfort over commitment, you delay your freedom. But every time you choose progress over pleasure, you build it. Discipline is not punishment, it's preparation. It's the price you pay to have the life you want. And once you taste the rewards of a disciplined life, the peace, the control, the freedom, you'll never envy the easy road again. Because discipline doesn't take from your life, it multiplies it. It's fascinating how people spend money to look wealthy instead of using money to become wealthy. The poor spend on appearance, the rich spend on advancement. You can spot the difference easily. One buys the gadget, the other buys the book. One fills the house with things, the other fills the mind with ideas. Because money is a seed, and where you plant it determines your harvest. If you plant it in gadgets, it depreciates. If you plant it in growth, it compounds. When I was young and broke, I used to admire the people who had the newest car, the biggest house, or the flashiest watch. But one day, a mentor told me, don't buy the car, buy the wisdom that can buy the car. That single statement changed the direction of my life. He reminded me that the first mansion I had to build was in my mind. Because if you give a rich man a poor mind, he'll lose his wealth. But if you give a poor man a rich mind, he'll find a way to create wealth again. It's never the money that makes you rich. It's the mindset that knows how to use it. You see, gadgets make you look successful. Growth makes you stay successful. The problem is, most people want the reward before they've earned the result. They want the car before they understand cash flow. They want the watch before they've learned time management. But if you spend your income on symbols of success, you rob yourself of the foundation that creates it. A fool can buy the look of wealth, but only a student can buy the reality of it. So make it a rule, never spend $1 till you've asked yourself, will this grow me or shrink me? If it feeds your ego, it's an expense. If it feeds your mind, it's an investment. Dedicate at least 10% of your income to learning, books, courses, mentorships, seminars, because every dollar you spend on education multiplies your earning potential. The poor say education is expensive. The rich say ignorance costs more. Here's another principle. Delay lifestyle upgrades until your assets can pay for them. Don't buy the luxury, build the engine that produces it. Let your business, your investments, or your side income fund your lifestyle, not your paycheck. You see, gadgets fade, but growth compounds. The car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. The knowledge you gain appreciates for life. So stop buying things that make you look rich and start buying things that make you become rich. Learn to value tools over toys, education over entertainment, discipline over distraction. Remember, the true mark of wealth isn't what's in your driveway, but what's in your mind. Because in the end, it's not the gadgets that change your life, it's growth. And once you start investing in growth, the gadgets you once dreamed of will eventually become the byproduct of who you've become. Wealth isn't something you buy, it's something you build, one wise choice at a time. Most people are chasing money, but very few are chasing service. And that's why so many never find wealth. Income is never the goal, it's the result. It's the applause you receive for the performance you gave to the marketplace. The poor ask, what will I get if I do this? The rich ask, how can I give more? Because wealth doesn't come to those who demand it, it comes to those who deserve it. You can't take from the marketplace more than the value you put in. When I first started out, I was broke, not just financially, but mentally. I used to wonder why some people earned 10 times more than I did, even when we worked the same hours. I complained about fairness. But then I learned a principle that turned my life around. The marketplace doesn't pay for time, it pays for value. The man who earns 10 times more simply delivers 10 times the value. He's mastered more skills, developed more discipline, and created more solutions. And so, that's when I made a decision. I stopped asking how I could earn more and started asking how I could become more. I began to over-deliver in my work, in my conversations, in my promises. I added a little extra. If someone expected an answer, I gave them insight. If someone needed help, I offered guidance. Slowly, people began to notice. Opportunities started appearing. Why? Because the world always finds room for those who make themselves valuable. Service is the secret weapon of wealth. When you serve deeply, sincerely, and consistently, people will pay you, promote you, and protect you. It's not manipulation, it's reciprocity. People are naturally drawn to those who make their lives easier or better. If you want more income, solve bigger problems. Don't run from challenges, run toward them. Every problem you solve adds a zero to your value. Start small, add unexpected value in every interaction. Maybe it's a kind word, a faster response, or a deeper insight. Over time, those little gestures build a reputation that money can't buy. Build relationships by giving first, without an agenda. Don't network, serve. Don't calculate what you'll gain, contribute. And don't just meet expectations, exceed them. Because the person who gives more than they're paid for will soon be paid for more than they give. The most successful people I've ever met were servants first. They understood that significance precedes success. They didn't chase the check, they chased contribution. The richest people aren't those with the biggest houses, they're those with the biggest hearts for service. So make this your philosophy. Before you earn, serve. Before you ask, give. Before you expect, contribute. And when you do, something incredible happens. The marketplace starts chasing you. You won't need to beg for opportunity because value always finds its way home. Wealth, in the end, is not a chase, it's an attraction. And nothing attracts abundance faster than a life dedicated to serving others with excellence and integrity. Most people want more money, yet they treat it like a foreign language they never bothered to learn. They work for it, chase it, even worry about it, but they never take the time to understand it. And here's the truth. You can't master what you don't understand. The poor avoid financial language because it feels complicated or intimidating, while the rich make it their second tongue. Money, like any language, has rules, expressions, and rhythm. If you don't speak it fluently, it will always speak over you. When I was young and broke, I didn't understand the flow of money. I knew how to earn it and how to spend it, but that was all. I thought people who talked about assets, cash flow, or investments were from another world. And once I started studying it, I realized wealth isn't magic. It's math. It's discipline. It's understanding how the game works and then playing it better than most. Here's the problem. Most people stop learning once they start earning. They get a paycheck, they spend it, and the cycle repeats. They never ask where their money goes or how it could grow. The rich, on the other hand, never stop studying. They read financial statements the way others read social media feeds. They learn the difference between appreciating assets and depreciating toys. They know that cash flow is the heartbeat of freedom, and debt is a silent thief that steals futures in installments. If you want to change your financial destiny, you must become financially literate. Read one finance or investing book every month. Don't just consume the information, apply it. Learn the basics. What are assets? What are liabilities? How does cash flow work? The moment you understand that an asset feeds you and a liability bleeds you, your financial decisions will start transforming overnight. You'll stop buying things that look rich and start building things that make you rich. Track your money like a detective follows clues. Know where every dollar goes, what it earns, and what it costs. Because money is like a mirror. It reflects your habits, not your hopes. The wealthy aren't lucky, they're aware. They don't hope for wealth, they plan for it. They treat every dollar as an employee with a job to do, either to work, to grow, or to rest strategically until it's needed. The truth is, money doesn't respond to emotion, it responds to education. It's not about how much you make, it's about how much you understand about what you make. The person who studies the flow of money will eventually command it. The one who ignores it will forever serve it. So, start learning the language. Speak it daily. Let money become your student, not your master. Because once you understand how it moves, you can guide it where you want it to go, toward freedom, toward purpose, and ultimately, toward the kind of wealth that sustains not just your lifestyle, but your legacy. Most people spend their whole lives chasing money when the real secret is to chase value. You don't get paid for the time you put in, you get paid for the value you bring to that time. Time itself has no value until you fill it with skill, creativity, and purpose. The poor think in hours, the rich think in outcomes. And that's why one person earns a wage while another earns a fortune, because one trades time while the other trades value. When I first started in business, I thought the answer to earning more was to work more hours. I believed that staying busy was the same as being productive. But one day, I met a man who worked fewer hours than I did and made 10 times my income. It puzzled me. Then I realized he wasn't being paid for his time, he was being paid for the value of his decisions. He had mastered the art of leverage, of doing work once that continues to produce value long after he stopped working. That's when it clicked. Wealth isn't about working harder, it's about becoming more valuable. If you want to earn like a millionaire, you must start by thinking like one. Ask yourself daily, what million-dollar problem can I solve today? Because every fortune in history was built by solving someone else's problem efficiently, consistently, and with excellence. The marketplace doesn't reward effort, it rewards effectiveness. It doesn't pay for motion, it pays for meaning. Your goal is to increase your ability to solve bigger, more meaningful problems. Start small if you have to, but keep growing. The moment you master one level of value, find the next one. If you can solve problems for 10 people, learn to solve them for 100. If you can save someone an hour, learn how to save them a day. That's how you multiply value, and the money will always follow. Refine your craft relentlessly. Be so good at what you do that people can't ignore you. Excellence is magnetic. It attracts opportunity. Don't chase clients, become the person they chase. And remember, you're not just selling your time or skill, you're selling results. Charge for outcomes, not hours. People don't pay for time, they pay for transformation. Here's something I learned early: money is a byproduct, not a target. When you aim to multiply money without multiplying value, it never lasts. But when you focus on serving more people, solving better problems, and improving your craft, the marketplace can't help but reward you. So stop asking, how can I make more money? And start asking, how can I make myself more valuable? Because the money you earn is a reflection of the problems you solve and the quality with which you solve them. Every day, look for ways to grow your usefulness, sharpen your expertise, and expand your capacity to help others win. And when you do that, when you commit to multiplying value before multiplying money, you'll never have to chase wealth again. It will start chasing you. Every dollar that passes through your hands is a tiny messenger of your philosophy about life. Some people treat money as something to spend, others see it as something to plant. One path leads to momentary pleasure, the other to lasting prosperity. Every dollar you hold carries a question. Will you use me to buy comfort, or will you send me out to build freedom? The poor see a coin, the rich see a seed. That's the difference. I remember when I was first learning about money, I used to think the goal was to earn more so I could spend more. I thought wealth meant buying things I wanted without thinking twice. But over time, I discovered something powerful. It wasn't the spending that built the rich. It was the stewardship. They didn't waste their dollars on sand. They planted them as seeds. They understood that a dollar not multiplied is a dollar eventually lost. Think of your money as a team of employees. Each dollar you own works for you. Now, what kind of boss are you? Do you send your dollars out to bring back more of their friends, or do you waste them on things that disappear the moment they're bought? Most people send their money to work for someone else. They spend it at the store, at the restaurant, or online, and it never comes back. The wealthy, however, make their money return home with company. When you start labeling every dollar as either seed or sand, your mindset changes instantly. Seed money is the kind that grows, investments, education, assets that generate more value over time. Sand money is what slips through your fingers, instant gratification, needless upgrades, things that fade as fast as the thrill of buying them. The goal isn't to avoid all spending, it's to make sure your spending creates either growth or gratitude, never guilt. Awareness is the first step. Track where your money goes, not because you love accounting, but because awareness builds control. You can't manage what you don't measure. You'll start to notice patterns, moments when you spent to feel good instead of to get better. That's when growth begins, when you start turning waste into wisdom. And here's a simple but life-changing habit. Reinvest at least 20% of every income stream. No matter how small, that habit creates momentum. It's not the amount that matters at first, it's the pattern. You're teaching yourself that money is not for consuming, it's for creating. Over time, that 20% starts to grow roots, then branches, then fruits. And before you know it, the harvest becomes too large to spend. The poor spend money to escape their circumstances. The rich invest money to expand their possibilities. When you start respecting every dollar as a seed, you step into the same mindset that builds empires. Because money, like nature, responds to respect. Plant it with intention, nurture it with discipline, and it will multiply beyond your imagination. So, the next time you hold a dollar, pause and ask, will I spend this for a moment or plant it for a lifetime? The answer to that question will determine not just your income, but your destiny. Every person in this room is running a company, the company of you. Whether you realize it or not, you are the CEO of your life. The question is, are you leading it with vision or just reacting to circumstances? The poor wait for instructions, the rich create them. The poor wait for permission, the rich give it to themselves. You see, most people spend their lives acting like employees in their own story, waiting for someone to tell them what to do, hoping someone will promote them, or waiting for life to give them a raise. But the wealthy understand something different. Life doesn't promote you until you act like the one in charge. I remember a time early in my journey when I was just drifting. I had goals, but they were more like wishes written on the wind. I worked hard, but I didn't manage my time or measure my progress. Then one day, I realized something simple yet profound. I was the president of my own results. My habits were my employees, my time was my capital, and my mindset was the board of directors. If I didn't run that business with precision, it would go bankrupt, not financially at first, but emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. To run your life like a business, you need a vision, not just a goal, but a direction. Where do you want to be a year from now? 5 years? 10? That's your company's mission statement. The poor think in days, the rich in decades. So start there. Define what success looks like, not just in money, but in health, relationships, and contribution. Because a great CEO doesn't just grow profits, they grow the people and systems that create them. Once you have the vision, you must measure. Every great business tracks its numbers, and so should you. Set annual financial goals and review them every month. Know your income, your spending, your investments, and your savings. Don't just hope to do better, measure better, because what gets measured improves. When I began tracking my progress, I realized where I was leaking time, energy, and money. That awareness alone doubled my productivity. But even the best CEOs know they can't do it alone. Build your personal board of directors, mentors, partners, and advisors who hold you accountable, challenge your blind spots, and share your vision. The rich surround themselves with thinkers who expand their limits. The poor often surround themselves with people who excuse them. Find those who will tell you the truth, not just what you want to hear. And when it comes to decision making, learn to lead with data, not emotion. Emotions are employees. They're valuable, but they shouldn't run the company. Study the numbers before you act. In business, we call it due diligence. In life, it's wisdom. When you finally take full ownership of your time, your energy, and your direction, something powerful happens. The world starts treating you the way you treat yourself. Opportunities recognize order. Wealth recognizes leadership, and success recognizes responsibility. So don't wait for someone to promote you. The position of CEO has been open all along, and it's got your name on it. Start managing your life like the enterprise it was meant to be, and watch as your income, your impact, and your influence begin to follow the leadership of the person truly in charge, you. There's a big difference between earning a living and creating wealth. Income feeds your life, but wealth frees your life. Most people spend their entire lives chasing paychecks, working harder and harder to earn just a little more each year. But those who truly understand money, those who live free, know that income is only the beginning. The goal isn't to make more, it's to own more. It's to turn what you earn into something that continues to earn for you long after you've stopped working. I remember when I first began to understand this truth. I was working hard, earning decent money, and I thought that was success. But every month, the money came in and the money went out. No matter how high my income rose, my stress followed right behind it. One day, I realized I didn't have wealth, I had wages. And wages disappear the moment you stop showing up. That was the day I made a decision. I didn't just want to work for money anymore. I wanted my money to start working for me. That's the shift. The poor and middle class work for income. The wealthy use income as a tool to buy freedom. They turn earned income into owned income, meaning they exchange hours for ownership, effort for equity, and activity for assets. Because here's the truth. It's not what you earn that matters. It's what you keep and multiply. So how do you make that shift? It begins with discipline. The kind of discipline that respects the rhythm of money. Follow a simple rule. Live on 70%, invest 20%, and give 10%. That 20% you invest is your ticket to freedom. It's the seed that grows into a tree that will one day feed you, even when you stop planting. And that 10% you give keeps your heart aligned with gratitude and generosity, two forces that always seem to attract more abundance. When you invest, buy assets that appreciate, things that gain value while you sleep. Real estate, dividend-paying stocks, or ownership in businesses that can grow without your constant attention. Remember, anything that requires you to be present to profit is still a job. True wealth grows when you're resting, traveling, or spending time with family. And measure your progress correctly. Don't let lifestyle fool you. A luxury car might look like success, but if it's draining your finances, it's actually debt in disguise. Measure your wealth not by what you wear, but by what you own. Not by how much you spend, but by how long you could live if you stopped earning today. The ultimate test of wealth is freedom. The freedom to choose how you spend your time, who you spend it with, and what you do with your days. Wealth is when your life is funded by choices, not obligations. It's when you can stop working for money and start working with purpose. So make the shift today. Don't just chase income, build wealth. Let your money buy back your time, your peace, and your freedom. Because the goal isn't to live rich, it's to die free. If you ask most people how to get rich, they'll tell you, make more money. But if you ask the wealthy how to stay rich, they'll say, don't lose it. That's the first rule of wealth. Protect your capital as fiercely as you protect your health. Because once your health is gone, everything else becomes secondary. And once your capital disappears, it takes years, sometimes decades, to rebuild. You see, the poor and the impatient chase every new, shiny opportunity. The wealthy, however, understand that wealth is not built in the excitement of gain, but in the discipline of protection. I learned early that offense will make you some money, but defense will keep you wealthy. It's not how fast you can run that matters, it's how well you can avoid falling. Too many people get excited about making money and forget the responsibility that comes with keeping it. They get seduced by high returns, quick profits, or risky bets, and when the tide turns, and it always does, they lose not only their gains but their foundation. The truth is, it's far easier to lose money than to make it. And once you lose trust in your own ability to handle money, you lose your financial confidence, and that's far more dangerous. Protecting your capital begins with discipline, not luck. Just as you wouldn't eat junk food every day and expect to stay healthy, you can't gamble with your money and expect it to grow. You need safeguards. Build an emergency fund, 6 to 12 months of living expenses, untouched except for true emergencies. That's your financial immune system. When life happens, and it always will, that fund will keep you calm, confident, and in control. Next, insure what you can't afford to replace. Your home, your health, your income. These are the pillars of your financial foundation. A simple insurance policy can protect years of hard work. It's not an expense, it's a shield. The poor call it a cost. The wise call it a strategy. Because peace of mind is the highest return on investment. And finally, control your emotions. Markets will rise and fall. Opportunities will come and go. And people will always whisper about the next big thing. But the moment emotion takes the driver's seat, reason leaves the room. The wealthy don't panic when prices drop. They plan. They don't chase every boom. They build systems that endure both booms and busts. Patience, not panic, is what keeps wealth intact. Think of your capital like your body. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be strong enough to withstand storms. Protect it, strengthen it, and nourish it. Because without capital, opportunity has no engine. Without protection, even the best plans can crumble. So remember this. Play offense with ambition, but play defense with wisdom. Let your desire for growth never outrun your need for safety. Because building wealth is one thing, but keeping it, that's where the real mastery begins. If you have to rely on willpower to get rich, you'll lose. Because willpower is like a muscle. It tires, it fails, and it fades when life gets busy. The wealthy don't depend on emotion or motivation to do the heavy lifting. They build systems that think for them, routines that protect them from their own impulses, and structures that turn discipline into automation. That's the secret. Wealth is rarely about working harder. It's about designing a system that works even when you don't feel like it. I remember when I first started learning about money, I thought discipline meant waking up every day and deciding to do the right thing. But decision fatigue is real. Every time you decide, you burn energy. And when you're tired, emotion takes over. The rich understand this. So, they build systems that take emotion out of the equation. They automate their savings, their investments, and even their generosity. The system becomes the discipline. Imagine if every time you got paid, a portion of your income automatically moved to a savings account, another to an investment fund, and another to a giving account. No thinking, no hesitation. No chance for excuses. The poor wait until the end of the month to see what's left to save. The wealthy save at the start of the month and let their systems handle the rest. Automation builds consistency, and consistency builds wealth. Think of it like this. If you want a tree to grow, you don't water it when you remember. You set up a drip system that never forgets. Money works the same way. Create automatic transfers that move your capital from income to growth. Use technology to your advantage. Budgeting apps, investment platforms, and auto-investing tools exist to keep you disciplined without the daily effort. The less you have to remember, the more consistent you'll be. But automation doesn't mean neglect. Systems require review. Once a month, sit down like the CEO of your financial life and audit your system. Are your investments performing? Are your allocations aligned with your goals? Are your expenses still serving your values? Systems keep you steady, but awareness keeps you wise. You see, automation is like the autopilot of an airplane. It flies straight, but you still need a captain to guide the direction. Separate your money by purpose. Have one account for expenses, that's your operating budget. Another for growth, that's your investment engine. And one for giving, that's your gratitude account. When money has direction, it behaves. When it's left without purpose, it disappears. Most people lose money not because they don't earn enough, but because they let it blend, blur, and vanish. Give your money clear lanes to run in, and it will multiply faster than you imagine. The beauty of a money system is that it doesn't care about your mood. It doesn't need motivation, discipline, or even constant attention. It just works silently, faithfully, consistently. That's how the wealthy stay wealthy. They design habits that remove the need for willpower. So if you want to become rich, truly rich, don't just change what you do with your money. Change how your money moves without you. Because a well-built system doesn't just make you money, it makes you free. We've traveled a long way together tonight, from the mindset of survival to the philosophy of abundance, from working just to earn a living to working to create a legacy. If there's one thing I want you to take home, it's this. Wealth isn't built in a day, it's built daily. It's not something you chase, it's something you attract by becoming the kind of person who can handle it. Money is only a reflection. It mirrors your habits, your thinking, your discipline, and your philosophy. If you want more, become more. Don't wish life were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish for fewer problems. Develop greater skills, and don't wait for the right time. The time is now. Wealth doesn't respond to hope or luck, it responds to preparation and purpose. You've got to build the habits today that your future self will thank you for. Learn a little more, save a little more, serve a little better, and most importantly, think a little bigger. The secret to turning your yearly income into your monthly income isn't magic, it's mastery. Mastery of self, of discipline, of systems, and of value. Every great fortune begins with a small act done consistently. Every great life begins with a single decision, the decision to change. So tonight, make that decision. Don't just listen, act. Don't just dream, plan. And don't just plan, start. Take one idea from this message, one shift in your philosophy, and put it to work tomorrow. Because if you do, one day you'll look back and realize, the moment your mind changed, your life changed. Now go build your wealth, not just in your bank account, but in your mind, your spirit, and your legacy.